Well, I thought I thought it was over, at least for a couple of months, right? Like the plan was to close out this season of Guuurl Listen with a celebration, but clearly Gwendolyn has a thing where she likes to stir up the hornet's nest and kick up a lot of dust. So we're back. we're back. Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack, and this is Guuurl Listen. Listen, y'all, let me tell you. So, can I just say thank you? Thank you to everyone who shared comments, thoughts, phone calls, text messages, DMs. Thank you. We had quite a few comments after the show, quite a few. And it was great. You know, I was telling someone the other day that we don't talk about a lot of stuff. I'll just say, because it's all I know, in American society. We don't want to talk about money. We don't want to talk about politics, religion, racism, sex. Like, we don't want to talk about a lot of stuff, yet we're all supposed to know certain things and be on the same page of the songbook. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I was touched, literally touched by the thoughts that were shared. And for everyone who just sent me a little something, I was like, you know what? I plans to like shut this down, right? And they were like, no, we need to talk about it some more. So I was like, yeah, okay, now I get it. 30 minutes clearly isn't enough, and that one I wanted more like 45. But it's a topic that clearly a number of us want to share our thoughts about, because we're experiencing this at some level. Either we know someone who has experienced it, we have ourselves experienced it as a woman, whatever. There's a reason why it triggered some curiosity. That's what I want to say, some curiosity. Okay. So let me do this. Before we get into it, we got to welcome in our community. And yes, we are streaming this to Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. And I appreciate everybody who is tuning in everywhere. Trust me, I do. But if I had a preference, I'm just going to say it. YouTube is where it's at. It's where it has a much better experience because they are all about video. But we will accept you no matter where you are. So please, by all means, want to share your thoughts. But would love to know where you are tuning in from. East Coast, West Coast, Texas. And let me just say, I'm sorry, because I'm not all over the place, but I have to recognize that it is September. And, you know, there's a part of me that still believes that this should be close to fall. It is 108 right now in Arlington, Texas. 108. That is not the heat index. That is what's, yeah. It's 108. I just knew we were done with this. Clearly not. We're almost there. We're almost there. Shout out to my mama. My mama showing up early. But as we all know, early is on time. On time is late. And only in a community are you allowed to be late. It's okay. Just show up. So shout out to my mother, who loves to use names of endearment. I had this crazy thought, and you're going to have to forgive me because September is my birth month. It is my birth month. My niece has a birthday at the beginning of the month. My parents celebrate their anniversary. We now memorialize my father on the 3rd. My other niece has a birthday end of the month. Like, there's a lot going on in September. I got married in September. So my name, just in case this is the first time that we are interacting with each other, it is Gwendolyn, but people call me G. Now, my mama calls me Gwen. She calls me Gwendolyn Renee when things are getting kind of funny. So she does all the names, but understand, she is my mama. Okay, so just be aware. Shout out to Gary saying hello to Mama Houston and G. And let's just talk about, like, it actually sounds really good. It's like, what up, G? What up, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so smooth. It's just the smoothest thing ever. Like, you can't help but recognize how smooth it is. And also shout out to my partner on the other side. Now, this is why my technology works the way it works. Spencer B from Atlanta. Gotta love it. Trust me when I say I'm working on some things back here. I'm working on some things. And shout out to Spencer for helping me get to that place. Absolutely love that he comes through. And yes, Gary's nickname is also G. So that's the thing that we have in common. So it's like perfect. But the comments from you guys, and I want to thank you for all of you who have shared comments, no matter where you've shared them on social media. I want to thank you for that, because here's the deal. These kinds of conversations, it's not about being right. I absolutely, be honest, I hate the term, well, yeah, you're right. It's not about being right. We're not here to be right. There is no right? The deal is to create a conversation that perhaps you may look at something slightly different. If you are surrounded by people who look like you and think like you, I don't really know how you get that variety, which is the spice of life. I don't know how you get that. It is great to have people who do not think like you, people who have a different lifestyle than yours. It just gives you this different perspective of the world, right? And for me, it helps me think about what other areas I may want to look into. So there were a lot of things shared on our last 2 episodes of Guuurl Listen when it came to, but you're a mother, right? We talked about the fact that people start dating somebody and they are loving what they're seeing. They're loving that allureness, everything is beautiful. And then the moment you get into a relationship, all of a sudden, you're too sexy, you're too this, you're not that. We had some of those conversations. Our dear friend Hayner gave us a little peek into his relationship and sharing that as a couple, a married couple, they discussed looking good for each other. Like they had a commitment, like they made this promise to each other. That in itself is another show, okay? Because when partners talk about stuff, and I thought about it as I was getting ready for this, that again, with women, the messages that we are given through media, and I'm talking about all kinds of media, books, magazines, videos, TV shows, movies. It is to be as thin as you could ever be, and that somehow or another you are supposed to still have your 30-year-old face when you're 70. Don't know where it came from. I don't even know why we still subscribe to that mindset or that idea. You are not the person that you were at 30. This body, it is a vessel. It's a vessel. Now, I was outside this morning, forgot to put on the sunscreen. Lucky for me, someone else at this volunteer event brought sunscreen, and I sprayed myself down because the sun light, it is damaging, right? Look around your house. If you have something that you have not moved in a few weeks, right, and it's under your table lamp, yeah, there's a shadow there because it's aging. Everything ages. So this whole idea of us remaining the same to keep our partner's interests, too much for one show, okay? Too much. So, but here's something, and I cannot remember the person who left the comment, and I feel awful that I did not write it down. but I will add it. But they had a really interesting comment about being an elder for younger girls, which is why this is titled I'm My Own Person. Because I started thinking, and Gary, you may know this because you're our sports person, but the idea that people are automatically considered an elder or a role model based on the role they have or relationship they have to someone. I find that odd, and I don't even think it needs to be. And I want to say it was Charles Barkley. Y'all may know, help me out. I could have sworn it was Charles Barkley back in the day. He mentioned, because, Charles had a history of some things in the NBA. But he mentioned that he is not a role model for anybody's kids just because he's an athlete. That doesn't make him a role model. If I'm wrong, somebody let me know in the comments, but I could have sworn it was Charles. And so when I thought about this comment about being a role model or being an elder for someone because you're older or because you are related to them, like mother, daughter, father, son, where do we get that idea? And do we have to even subscribe to it or follow through? Like that's my question. Because personally, I'm with Charles. I'm with Chuck. I'm not here to be your child's role model. But we pick certain things, and we'll use athletes in this case, that athletes should have this higher than thou moral obligation, that at all times they should be like the choir boy and keep everything on this level and never ever mess up. I mean, it's just so bizarre that you have, and let's check the age of some of these athletes, and I'm gonna use football as an example. These are kids, 22, 21, 23 years old. Why would somebody else's child be the role model for my child? Like, I don't, and they're trying to figure out life. They just took this job on this major stage, and I it needs to make sense. Like that math, it's not mathing. When you really stop and think about who we are saying should be the role models for our kids. Look at the NBA. What are they, like 19? 20 years old? Isn't that the age? I mean, I could be wrong. Help me out, but I could have sworn these are like babies. These are babies who are all of a sudden, because of the job that they have agreed to, putting their body on the line. Like, that's the exchange. All right, I'm going to get bad knees and bad feet and all the things for someone's entertainment and for my comfort, but you are exchanging all of your for a check. Okay, so let's recognize that it's all equal. But I could have sworn it was Chuck. Let me check my comments here. Let me make sure that we have it. Yes, it is Charles Barkley. Yeah, I could have sworn, because Chuck was doing some bows and things, what I'm saying, back in the day in the NBA. And he was clear, he is not your child's role model. Like, it's not his job. It's not his job. So let's flip it. Let's flip it to today. Why do we believe that because you're older, you're an elder? Age does not make you wiser. It doesn't give you more wisdom. Now, you may have lived through some things. Whether or not you picked up on the lesson needs to be seen. But just because you're older doesn't mean you know more, understand more. You've gone through some more stuff. I'll give you that. But that doesn't mean that, because now I'm older than you, I know better than you, and I can tell you what to do. I mean, so time out real quick. If we were talking school, we've all been through school. I mean, like, a lot of us here are on the other side, right? We're out of school. So yes, we know the lies you tell when you're trying to skip school. We know the lies you tell when you're trying to go out and see your friends. And I think most of us have all done that. So that we can say, no, I did that. I did that when I was in high school. I already know what you're trying to do. So on that one, I'll give you a check mark, right? So I'll give you that one. But some of these other things that we assume because you are older, you're wiser, and therefore you know all and is the be all. Well, that just doesn't make sense. Just does not make sense. So going back to our original conversation of women when they choose motherhood. Why are we now assuming that because they have selected motherhood, and I'm using the word selected for a reason, that they are now someone's elder and they're setting the tone for somebody else? Like, really stop and think about where's that come from, because there are some women that I said before should not have kids, right? Adoptive or naturally should not have kids. They should not. Same with the men. They should not. It just shouldn't be. Now, I am a woman who chose not to have kids. And let me tell you, there is nothing like having a beautiful child in the house when you're a teenager. I love my nephew. I love him. I love him dearly. He scared me straight. Sure did. Scared me straight. I was like, this is never happening. People talk about some of those, and clearly I don't know if they still have home ec in school, so my age may be showing, but they were doing some of those teenage parent projects where they had the kids carry the baby all the time, and they were like, no, I'm gonna wait to have a child. Okay, yeah, but it's a toy, so you get to go back to living life, whatever. When it's real, I'm gonna tell you right now, Gwendolyn was like, we are not doing this. We are not. And I just had these aspirations, but I would be a liar if I told you that somewhere in the back of my head, I kept hearing you one should be married, you two should have a child, and your clock is ticking, right? Like it was just somewhere back there in my 30s. And then I thought, you know what? I don't want that. I'm just not that responsible. I don't want to be that responsible for anybody but Gwendolyn. That is it. That is all that I want to do. I don't want to do anything else but get up, go enjoy my day, and come back and not have to change somebody and fix them food all the time and drop them off. I love kids. I love my niece and nephews, but I also love sending them home when I'm done. I know. Is that awful? No, it's just real. But I do want to talk about how we treat women who have kids and women who don't. But we got comments here. Okay, so yes, thank you, Gary, for confirming that. It was Charles Barkley. And yes, these athletes, they are wet behind the ears. These are kids who are getting millions of dollars trying to figure out how to manage that and manage family expectations, friend expectations. Now that all this money is coming in, they have all these things going on. Why would we have the assumption that they should now be a role model for our child, right? Why do we look at certain jobs or relationships? Just because you're my mother or my father does not mean that you should be my role model. Now, my mama and daddy, the good Lord blessed me with some real ones. So, you know what I'm saying? I guess I got lucky. But you have to ask yourself, does relationship dictate that you have to be? Because we have seen some things. Yes, they're 19. They're babies. We have seen some things where there are, and this may sound judgmental, and I'm okay with it a little bit, but I'm not judging. But I'm observing how when certain people have kids, their child becomes the mini version of them. It's almost as if whatever they were not able to do or whatever dream they did not live out, that child is forced into that dream that becomes a reality for this parent. And it could be something as simple as being in beauty pageants, playing soccer, or dressing them up to match however they're dressing. So they're like, well, this is my baby doll. But I'm not. It just makes me, it's a question mark there, right? There's a question mark that this is because of relationship. We have to. Now, I understand that your parents are the first adults, your grandmother, grandfather, they're the first adults that you really see on a consistent basis. And so they're going to help frame the ways of the world. I understand that. But framing the world and that person becoming your role model or that's a whole nother leap on the other side. That's a whole nother leap. Let's keep looking into these comments here because we're talking and we're getting things going. Heck, Charles is not. Yes, Charles, he's come a ways. He's got his own grandkids and kids and whatnot, right? He's a grandfather now. But Charles is clear. And it's one of the quotes that has stuck with me because it just made sense. Like, we are so quick to put people on a pedestal based on the job they have. And we make this assumption, I'm gonna say job they have or the role they have in the community. We put them on a pedestal and we sort of block out all the things that tell us this is not the person for your child. This is not the person for your family. Like, we block all that out because of the status they have. Ugh. Why do I feel another show coming on? These wheels, y'all know, first of all, I keep a list of stuff because we have so many things we have not talked about and that we don't talk about. And, we just have to get into some things. But I'm with you, Gary. I love Chuck's honesty. It is the best. Danny is in the building. Hello, sister. Hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Absolutely love it. Of course, Gary is giving Danny her salutations. And then Dan says, I try to make mine wear matching clothes with me all the time. However, I'm denying that. Danny has a son. Not that they can't still wear the same shirt, because they can do that. Same shirt, same jeans, same sneakers. They could do that. But he's not. I just don't see it happening. Yeah. It's a good try, Danny. It's a good try. We're not going to fault you for trying it. We're not going to fault you for trying it. It's a good try. But I want to turn over into this as we bring this together, because 30 minutes goes by so fast. And trust me when I say we are sticking to 30 minutes today. Do we believe? Because this is my hot topic button. I don't know if I don't want to use the word offended someone, because my thoughts are my own. I'm not easily swayed. I was the why child in the house. I was always asking why. Some way or another, I was like, but why? But why and why? My mother and father didn't always say, because I said so, they were not those people. There was a place where there was a, let's talk about some stuff, right? But I'm always asking why. So my question here is, do we believe that religion or social beliefs impact how we approach women who have chosen motherhood? Now, if you are old enough to understand Donna Reed, know who she is, Leave It to Beaver, the Waltons, we create this sort of Puritan image of motherhood, and that they are hair back and very little makeup and very little frills and everything. And there's always this apron that they're wearing because they're always in the kitchen cooking for somebody, tending house. We still have this belief that that's the life that women should be living, right? Like we still have that belief, but check it. It is 2023. I don't know the last time those who believe in that idea have looked at the cost of living, the cost of childcare. Those who are able to have an at-home parent, it's a blessing. No, I'm going to say luxury. It's a luxury. I can't even think of the year where a good chunk of people were still able to have an at-home parent. Okay. It was different then, that you can have someone be at home all the time and do all the stuff. And there was one person bringing in all the bacon for the household. We have escaped that time. That time has passed us. But yet and still, we still hold on to this fairy tale. We hold on to this fairy tale that this is what family is. Mother's in the kitchen and she's cooking dinner and we're sitting at the table and we're playing, Monopoly. And now I said it before, I'll say it again. My dad made us eat at the table up until the point where he just could not cook anymore. But he's a chef, so understand that. We have this warped sense of what life is like. Women, and I'll talk about at-home dads, but women go to work. As we said last time, they are the first person that a school calls when there is an emergency for the child. And then somehow or another, women are supposed to do their 9 hours at the office or wherever they're working, pick up the kids, and still be able to come home and put food on the table, and keep a clean house. It is so beyond ridiculous. But I have to wonder if some of it isn't based on, again, social beliefs, these fairy tales, or religion. Because we have seen some people like to toss in religion when it comes to the role of a woman and what she is responsible for and what she should be doing. Now, I don't know if it's obvious. I am very spiritual. The good Lord got me up this morning. However, I do not subscribe to any organized religion. I think man ruined it. I'm not even going to say man ruined it. Because somewhere or another, you get into a place and then all these other rules come in, that women shouldn't wear pants, women shouldn't have short hair, women shouldn't do this, women, it's I don't even know where that came, where is that in the Bible? Right? You want to tell what verse, what chapter, what book did you read all of this? I would love to know. So there is a place where religion has an impact on how we see and do things and how we treat women who have kids and those who do not have kids. If you look at media, TV, whatever, women who don't have kids are loose. The harlots. They're the reason why preachers don't stay. Okay, let's check some comments. Because I'm going to say something that I probably shouldn't say. Oh, she said, your son is not about that life. He is not about that life. I agree with that. He's not about that life. That's not where he thrives. He's a beautiful, beautiful kid. I love his personality. And so even I can say he's not about that life. He's not. When I just look at this topic as a whole, and it's too much to, unpack in one swoop. So we're not going to try. We'll just come back and revisit a good chunk of this. But look at how some of these outward things impact what we do and why we hold on to them so tightly. I love tradition. I do. I love tradition. We had a lot of traditions in our family. We create some of our own. I know for myself, at the holidays, I'm going to put on Die Hard. I'm going to watch National Lampoon Christmas Vacation. I'm going to watch Scrooge. I'm going to watch all these holiday movies, right? All these holiday movies as we get into Christmas is what we do, right? Is what Gwendolyn does in the household. I watch The Wiz. My husband really? The Wiz? It's a tradition. But traditions change. How we live has changed. But why we are stuck to this idea that a woman, and I'm going to say it again, has to give up everything about herself when she chooses motherhood. And I'm going to use the word choose because we still have the idea that women need to be married. And if they're not married, something's wrong with them. It's spoiled goods or something, right? The fruit's rotten if you're not married. Or if that you don't have kids. What's wrong with you? Could you not find, was there not? And check it too. You could be a married couple choosing not to have kids. People will still question you. It's as if it's our duty to reproduce, but everybody don't want to reproduce. I mean, some of us, like I said, just shouldn't do it. Can you imagine if there was another Gwendolyn, a mini Gwendolyn? I can't even handle me right now. Don't think the world needed another one of me. Don't think the world needed it. Right? But we treat people differently when we decide to not stay on the traditional path of what a family looks like, what work looks like, what a relationship looks like, what living your own life looks like. We look at that and say, oh my God, something must be wrong there. Now, I'm not going to do it this season because I don't have the time. I don't know. I don't think I have the time. But tied to that conversation of I'm my own person, even though I have kids, as we said before, is the idea that you now have to also change yourself because of your partner. And this is not a man changing himself for his wife or his partner, pardon me there, but that when women choose a partner and get into a dedicated relationship, there's this unspoken assumption that she needs to keep herself looking good for that person, right? Or that person has a say in how they show up in the world, right? And some of the phrases that we heard in our last episode was, but that's your husband. You shouldn't wear that because your husband wouldn't want you to wear that, or your boyfriend wouldn't want you to wear that, or your significant other's like, but they're not buying my clothes. So I don't understand why that would even be why is that a conversation? It's never a conversation. Before I close this out, as I bring up a few more comments here. Oh, a Christmas. Okay. We're not going to do movies. But A Christmas Story plays 24/7 on TV. Yes, I think we all know that. We love A Christmas Story. Multiple times with the marathon. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm trying to tell you. What we will be investigating, and it'll probably be next season. That fine line. Because I got this question. It was the best question ever. So shout out to Dr. Tachi. Because I love how people give me more to think about and to investigate. And we really should be investigating this. I mean that hands down. We talked about, in terms of society, we talked about not attaching gender roles to toys, right? Like an easy bake oven. A young man could easily have an easy bake oven, and a young girl could easily have a dump truck as a gift, right? But we want to give girls baby dolls, and we teach them that this is what you should do. And boys get rocket ships, and you're going to the moon, and you're going to be a doctor. Like we need to start changing this narrative and how we do stuff. Like, let a kid be a kid, not attached to any gender. And real talk, G.I. Joe, He-Man, those were dolls, action figures. It's called a doll. We like to use different words to make it feel good, right? So it's not so. So we're going to investigate more of this as we wrap this up, because it's already past 30 minutes. God bless us. Already passed. Two things I want to talk about. We're going to talk about religion. And I want to dive into two things with religion. Not this season. Religion and women. And then religion and Black women. Because I just feel like I only know one thing. But, I welcome other experiences. The question from Dr. Tachi was, when you're an individual, like, is there a fine line to where you don't offend, like, your partner, spouse, family member, whoever, right? We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that one as well, because that's really great. You can still be all of you and still not offend. Put a filter on. Like, we all know how to use filters, right? It's not a mask, it's a filter. It is a filter. Next week, as we do have to wrap up this season. I was a Cabbage Patch Kid. That's what Cabbage Patch Kids. And they were so cute. They were so cute. I got a lot of stuffed animals. I didn't do a lot of dolls. Although I did have a Rainbow Bright. I had a Rainbow Bright. God, I love that doll. So much so that when her head fell off, I got duct tape and taped it around. And it was still kind of wobbly, but whatever. Two things. Next week, we'll be celebrating my birthday a little early. If the Lord allows me to see 48. But we will be celebrating, so you need to bring your cocktail. Bring your cocktail. We're going to be celebrating next Friday, 4:00 Central dinner time. And then the following week, we're going to switch it up. I want to hear from you. If you want to jump on the stage, share your thoughts about what's going on in the world today. Lord bless me. I hope this does not go wrong. Let me know. Stay tuned for a post that will be on my social media. It will also be in the comments. But if you want to jump on the stage with Guuurl Listen and just say hello to the community, I am welcoming you to do it. It is going to be the last show of this season. So we would love to have some thoughts from those out there to come on, have a quick conversation, and then exit stage left. I guess you could go right, wherever the exit is. We'd love to have you there. But we would love to have you guys be on stage. If you have stage fright, let me know and we can work it out. But stay tuned for that post to come out. I would love to hear from all of you. Would love to have you here sharing the stage with me as we wrap up this season of Guuurl Listen, because we would love to do it. Gary, you gotta jump on stage, man. You gotta jump on stage. You need to come on and get on in it. That episode might be longer than 30 minutes. You know what? It may very well be. But I would love to have you guys to come on. And here's the deal. This is not the place where we have to do groupthink. I don't do groupthink. It is perfectly fine to have your own idea, right? Perfectly fine. We welcome different perspectives. This is not, we all have to agree. This is not that kind of party. So I definitely want you to, if you are thinking about something, either it's our talk on motherhood, our talk about money, our talk about, taking care of yourself, whatever it's going on out there, bring it on to the stage. We would love to have you here. So check the community boards for that post, and then my social media feeds that will be there as well. All right. So Gary said okay. So I'm going to sending you the link to put you on the list so that we can have this conversation. So again, thank you all for tuning in today. This episode of Guuurl Listen, this motherhood thing, it touches me, not because I'm not a mother, but because it just goes back to when it comes to women. And I told somebody this and they thought, oh my God, it's like, no, women are still treated like second-class citizens, just in case you hadn't noticed, right? And it's not that all women feel the exact same way. There's women who do believe that we do not deserve equal pay for the job that we do. And they do believe that someone should be telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies. Okay. And I am telling you that since I don't have full control of what I'm working with, I don't see myself as an equal. Forget ethnicity, right? Forget race. I'm just looking at gender right now, trying to get on the same page. What can I tell you? With that, enjoy your weekend. Please be safe. I'm going to see you guys next Friday.